Hello, my name is June Summers. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my life and some other things. The first thing I want to start with is you can see this is probably that I'm very new on social media. You'll learn a little bit more about that later because I've had help with this. But I've learned that in everybody's life there are good and bad things, good and bad stuff. I'm going to start with the bad stuff first. The first thing is very evident. I am old. You could probably see that by the color of my hair, the wrinkles on my face. Next month I will be 85 years old. So as you can see, it's very evident. The next thing I'd like to tell you about is that I have had glaucoma, which is a very severe eye disease, and I've had it for many years, which causes different vision effects that make it very difficult for me to see. The main thing is that I no longer can drive a car. Back in 2013, I got out of that driver's seat and I haven't been back since. And I'm sure you're happy about that as well as I am. The worst thing, the bad part in my life, was that my older daughter passed away of breast cancer back in 2009. That I'd like to tell you a little bit more about later. Now we'll get to the good parts. The good part, the first good part is I have a very nice family. I have a younger daughter and her great husband, my son-in-law, who play a big part of my life. I have an older sister who is actually 3.5 years older than me and still working full time. And I have a special niece that I call my sister, my confidant, my chauffeur, my friend, who will take me anywhere I need to go, will do anything for me that I ask. So she's very special to me. And if you will probably notice in the next few times you see me that I have 2 cats. One of them especially will be roaming around the area as I talk to you. I also have an extended family that is important to me. Every month we get together for a family luncheon and go to different restaurants in the area where we talk and get together and just kind of hang out with one another. The last thing that I'd like to say about my good part of my life is that I am an author. I have published 8 books, or I've had published 8 books. The first one being published in 2016. And that's one of the reasons I like to talk to you, because I want to introduce my books to you at this time. The first one that I have had published is called Let Freedom Ring. It was published back in 2016. It's a story, it's a unique story about a kidnapping. The kidnapping itself takes place in 1930, but most of the book is not back at that time. But there's a unique feature about this, which eventually you'll learn more about. The second book I had published was called Before We Fade Away. Most of my books are thriller novels. This one is probably the goriest of my thrillers. It's about a family, a large family, who was brutally murdered. And years later, after the murder, the granddaughter of the grandfather of her grandfather who was accused of the murders, she's trying to find out the story behind the murder. The next one, which was also published in 2018, is called A Conflict of Time. And it's a thriller about a young man who infiltrates the Russian mafia, but it's also a back-in-time novel. It has a unique premise about it. The next one, published in 2020, during COVID, by the way, is Whatever It Takes. And this is another thriller about a young thief, a burglar who goes into a rich household of a couple to steal from them. And in the process, he opens up a closet door and he finds an emaciated child on the floor. He's covered with feces and urine, and it's just a mess. So the burglar doesn't know what to do, but what he does is decide to kidnap the child. The next book was published in 2021, and it's There Was an Old Woman. This is about an older woman, a grandmother, who just recently lost her husband, and her 2 grandchildren come to stay with her out in her country home. During their stay, they are attacked by 3 masked men who want to steal her money and probably kill her in the end. But you'll find that out in the story. I have a visitor here. My next book was published in 2022, and it's called At Rope's End. And this is about a superintendent of an apartment complex on a seamy side of town, and he wants to kill himself. And he makes several attempts at it, and those attempts are often thwarted by things that are happening, emergency things that are happening within his building. So it's a kind of a thriller in a sense, because you never know what's going to happen. The next one is published in December of last year, and it's another thriller novel. It's called What Happened to the Boy. And this one is about a palatial home that had a terrific fire occurs in this home. But the worst thing about it is within the fire, a couple is found murdered, shot to death. But in the process, there is also a 5-year-old boy that is missing. And only a homeless woman knows where this boy is. And my final book is called Hope Unleashed. And it's a nonfiction book. And this, when I mentioned my daughter, Wendy, this is a story of where Wendy and I had a shelter for homeless and abused animals while she was fighting terminal cancer. So it's dear to my heart, because this story is so moving in many ways. And this was also published in December of last year. So those are my books. I introduced you a little bit so that I can entice you to want to read them and to purchase them. I will leave it at that for now. And next time I talk to you, I'll tell you a little more about my books and maybe some uninteresting facts about myself and my 2 cats, which this one is Captain, the other one is Shadow, and she is Heidi. But that's it for now. So long.